Hello and welcome to Nova Drift. My name is the Gaudy Jackal and I died repeatedly with all of these on. So evidently I'm making a mistake. Or alternatively, I'm just not focusing hard enough, and that's just as much of a possibility. The last runs that I did were poor, and honestly a poor representation of what can be done with a flak run, and that's not okay. So this would be a great place to say that I'm just not going to do a flak run again, but I'm absolutely going to do a flak run again and try and learn for myself a little bit more of what flak does. The early stages of the game, it's powerful. It is. It's honestly great. We also took research, which I'm not going to take this time. I like the velocity and the reduced weapon spread that I get from this. From assault, and the rate of fire is nice, but I'm actually not going to take rate of fire. I am going to take engineer. And as much as this is going to be a flak build, it's going to be an ally build that shoots flak bullets. And hopefully, this time around, it should do just a hell of a lot of damage, because I died repeatedly and I'm disappointed in myself. Temporal helix. Wow, temporal only has 65 durability, that's terrible. And an 8-second cooldown. Wow, okay. I thought it was better. That's fine. Take... Ooh, is that any good? I'm considering whether or not I want to go Bastion, because if I go really, really hard into the construct tree, then I could shield my constructs with Bastion, and that's great. Honestly, it's fantastic. But I won't get to shield my weapon. That said, I won't lose my Bastion as fast, because I won't be firing out Bastion coated blade. And my weapon will still do damage, but then if I take Overseer, I can't use my weapon. So maybe something like Halo would be fine. I think it would be fine. Yeah, okay, I'm pretty comfortable with the idea that I have for this build. I have had an extremely interesting day. It is worth noting, straight away, this video is recorded on the back of the last video, the one that would have went live on Monday. And I'm choosing to start off on a different tangent, a different stream of consciousness than the last video. Because, I don't know, I just kind of want to... I have had a really interesting day. Saying dealt with is actually rather unfair, and so I choose not to say dealt with. But I had an extremely interesting customer today. A deaf mute customer who... I'm not going to say difficult, because that's not true, but had a lot of questions, and as such made the situation that I was in somewhat challenging. The customer in question, didn't have, I guess, she could like kind of speak, but it was very pained, I guess is the best word for it. It seemed difficult. And so we communicated primarily via text, or rather by writing, except she honestly, outside of having terrible handwriting, which is not just her, a lot of people have really terrible handwriting, and it's annoying, especially when they present their passwords for their like iCloud. Keep in mind I work in an Apple store, especially when they... Ooh, interceptor. Yeah, because integrated weaponry, it's important. Especially when they present their iCloud passwords in the form of a written slip that they've kept in the back of their phone. And it's illegible. They've written it in the worst handwriting that they can manage. Call me crazy. I know that maybe the idea is that it's for their eyes only, as passwords should be. But at the same time, could you not just have it more legible for me? You know, and that much is fine. I can accept that. But when you're writing to me, try a little bit more. And I know that, you know, like, people have their handwriting and that's how they write, but I know that she can write better because she wrote her name for me to put onto a booking because she reserved an item and wrote it, like, completely legibly. Nanotech reconstruction. Did that always have 3 little allies? It probably did. I'm not going to take Ranger because I want my interceptors really, really close. Ooh, I have to take evasion for that then. Okay. So I had, as I said, a deaf mute customer today who had a lot of questions. She came straight up to the counter, which is admirable. A lot of people stand really far away from the counter, really like at the front of the store and start asking questions or walk around, and they clearly have questions. I'm not gonna say that, you know, like somebody walks into the store and they just have a look around at stuff and then they have to be approached, because not everybody wants to be approached. And then, you know, some people have questions off the top of their head, but they're like, oh, you know, now that you're talking to me, how does this work? How is this phone different to a different phone? How is this tablet or MacBook different to the one that I currently have? That's fair. Some people clearly have questions and have no idea what they're doing because they'll stand around for like 10 to 15 minutes if you don't approach them. I'm just spamming shots here. I really should have taken charge shot. And she admirably walked straight up to the counter and made it very clear that she couldn't talk. With the best, I'm sure, because I got the point. So honestly, the best faux sign language that could be managed. You know that, I don't know if you've experienced a retail environment in which you cannot communicate with your customer, but I have. In fact, I have extensive experience in that that area, and so she was not, like, it was not an issue. It was honestly grand. Integrated weaponry is what I'm looking for here. So yeah, it's like the only thing I want. And then I probably want charge shot. What's next? Elegant construction. So let's take defense, because if I don't take defense, I'm gonna die. That's what's gonna happen immediately. Shield cooldown. Backstory time before we get into the real story. And if you want to get into the real story, probably skip forward about a minute or two, because this is going to be a minute or two. I used to work in a sweater shop. It's actually called the sweater shop, which is atrocious, but you know, the people aren't original all the time. And I mean, yeah. So I used to work in a sweater shop called the sweater shop, where we primarily sold Aran, quote unquote, if you're familiar with the style of knit sweater. And in doing so, outside of dealing with a great deal of American customers in the summer, who are extremely lovely, but also just, like, I mean this in the best possible way, sometimes just very dense. And I'm like, I am really sorry if that comes across as quite offensive, but oh my god, just sometimes. And I get that you're on holiday and maybe you don't want to like deal with all the like answers and the technical stuff and whatever, but you're asking the questions, so could you just please be a little bit less? Anyway, I also dealt with, outside of the summer months, a great deal of Spanish customers who, and I know I'm stereotyping here, I get that, and I apologize if it is offensive, really this time, but a great deal of Spanish and I guess Mexican customers who have like no grasp of the English language beyond the absolute basics, but still insist on asking the most complicated questions that I don't know if they're expecting simple answers. This build is infinitely more successful than the last one. I don't know what I changed outside of not taking split shot. Maybe that made the bigger difference. And obviously the drones and interceptors, I'm sure, are a phenomenal difference. Anyway, just no grasp of the English language outside of the most basic stuff. Price points, numbers in the English language, and whether or not, and this is the worst part, the answer yes to if they can get a discount. One of the things I used to get a great deal was somebody who would come in, and again, I apologize for how this sounds, but someone would come in and they go, discount, when they have their item at the counter, and you would say, no, we can't offer a discount. We're not allowed. And they would look at you like you had two heads. This, I don't understand a word you said, expression on their face. And if you left them in the silence for long enough, they would say something to the effect of, I no understand. Can you explain me better? Can you explain me? Discount? And you would have to say no. And they would continue sometimes with the I no understand until you eventually shake your head and give them the universal sign that is no. And honestly, I really appreciate that about humans, just the whole fact that you can shake your head and that means no, and that's fine in every single language. But I don't get it, you know? I don't get the whole not being able to speak English and at the same time questioning things. But that's not where I'm going with this story. I had my customer, and I'm used to dealing with people who I can't communicate with using my only, actually, in fairness. Although I do have a small amount of German language, my preferred primary and fluent language. So I had to write. Now, she spoke English, so I guess technically that's not entirely true. But her writing was terrible, and her language when she was writing was atrocious. She didn't write in complete or proper sentences, and her handwriting was joined and atrocious, and it was a little bit difficult. And it was a fantastic interaction. I know I've been building this up to make it seem like it was terrible or it was incredibly difficult, or even perhaps that I didn't enjoy it. And honestly, none of that is the case. I absolutely loved it. And I don't mean in a salesperson. I'm in the black hole again. When will I learn to trust? I don't mean in a salesperson test of my abilities kind of a way, and I certainly don't mean in a I'm so good at talking to people kind of a way. It was just really nice. I know I've mentioned before the fact that I deal with a great deal of older customers who don't have people to ask their questions to, and they have questions that need answered regarding the stuff that the rest of us take for granted, and they don't want to be patronized, and they don't want to be rushed through things, and they don't want to be upsold either, which is the worst thing. And it was one of those situations where I felt glad that I was who she was dealing with, because I had the patience and gave her the time that she deserved. If you want to look at it purely on a making money for the company level, she wanted to buy an iPad and she had questions about the iPad, which were difficult to answer, because asking questions about a product and what makes it different from a different product are hard to just write down. And I like to get, what the customer likes about what they want. I want to know what they want in a product before I sell them something, to make sure that they're not buying something that's out of their price range just because they think it's the newest thing and it's what they need, because that's just not true. I need to level up before I die. Ooh. Okay, I know I've been saying for a while that we, as a community, you guys and me, need to talk more. We just don't connect anymore, I need to hear more about the builds that you want to see, but the next episode, that's planned. That is, I saw Discharge, I forgot for a while, I've just seen Discharge, the next build is planned. So let's use our last reroll and get Juggernaut, self-destruction for my constructs so I don't die. And then reinforced drones, so that when they do die, so that they take longer to actually die. So I was just, I like to get a lot of information from people so that to make sure that they're not buying something that's wrong for them, yes, but also that they're not wasting their money. I don't know how familiar you are with the iPad market or the iPhone market. It's saturated heavily. Not just the tablet market, just the iPad market. There are let me see. There's the 8 Plus, the X, the XS, the XS Max, and the XR in the current lineup of iPhones that Apple are heavily marketing. Outside of those, there's also the 7, the 7 Plus, the 6, the 6S, the 6S Plus, and the 8. I know that was in terrible order, but effectively, there's something like 9 iPhones currently available that you can buy new. Not refurbished, not used, new still from Apple, like, retailers. We got an upgrade. We got Apex machinery. This is phenomenal for builds that we want to run with constructs, but at the same time, that was trash. There's a lot. And he died. Oh, what a kick in the teeth. There's a lot of options available to a customer. I'm going to turn off nothing, apparently, because the left button on my controller is apparently the same as X. There's a lot of options in the current lineup. And unfortunately, that makes it a bit difficult. Okay, we're going to stop the point for a second to detail to you the build that I'm going to be doing in the next episode and cock tease you with the entire thing, because we're actually going to go for another flak build. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take Torrent, and then I'm going to take Discharge. I'm going to take... oh god, the name completely escapes me. The shield super mod that means your weapon has no effect, and I'm just going to blast enemies with lightning literally constantly. We're going to go back to just not this so that we can continue the run that we were doing. If flak would... Thank you. Ooh, let's go Sentinel for survivability, and then... You know what? Let's take Bastion. Let's do it this time. Why not? Let's live a little. I've been cutting this point short repeatedly, and that's really unfair if you're actually trying to pay attention to it. I just want to know that the customer leaves happy. That's it, you know? It's pretty straightforward. This has been great. So many upgrades. Oh my god. Level 7 already. That's it. It's not too complicated. And it just... She had a lot of questions about the newer iPads, and the iPhones have a lot of lineups, and as you can imagine, then the iPads have a great deal of lineups as well. There's the Pro, the old Pro, the new Pro, there's the Air, new and old, there's the regular iPad, iPad mini. Walking into that, as somebody who may have been disconnected from everything else for a while, and she wasn't, I want to state that. It's difficult. And more so then if you are semi-reliant on the thing in question. Ooh, assault drones or defense drones? Assault drones. If you're semi-reliant in any way at all on what it is that you're looking to purchase, then it's really important that you get something that's good for you. And I get that. And I don't want to oversell a customer something that they don't need because they're vulnerable. You know, that's malicious and unfair. So she starts asking me questions about the iPads, and I recommend the iPad Air. And it is worth noting the iPad Air is more expensive than the iPad. The iPad is $369 and the iPad Air is $579. But also worth noting, the iPad is older. There's probably going to be a new one that releases this year, and that's fine, you know, if it doesn't matter. But if this is your primary method of communication, and I'm not going to say it is, you know, I don't know, but it seemed like she had an iPad that was working weirdly for her, and she tried to run through that issue with me as well. Then you want it to work for longer. Technology is designed with planned obsolescence. I'm not okay with how ceremoniously the music just stopped for me to be deep. A lot of tech is designed with planned obsolescence, and so your iPads and your iPhones are going to stop working 5 or 6 years down the line, and that's inevitable. And by that merit, buying the newest one that's also moderately within your price range is a good idea. The iPad is, you're buying a new one, but it's also 5, 6 years old. It's also 2 years old, and the result of that is the OS is going to expire a little bit on it before it before the newer one. Then also the iPad Air comes with like a keyboard that you can attach to it if you choose to get it at the same time. The insurance is the same price, and it works like a little bit better with the Apple Pen. It moves a bit more freely, and it's just got like a better operating system overall. So, or rather a better chip, and it is the same operating system. So I recommended it, and she took that on board. And detailing to a customer who can't speak or hear in written form, ooh, battalion. No, I want the other one. It's battalion again, take Splinter. Detailing to a customer who can't speak or hear the differences between technical products in a way that is relevant to them written down when their writing itself is poor. And the feeling that I got, because I got a quizzical expression and a murmur of lack of understanding when I wrote something that was a little bit too complicated, because she wasn't young. She wasn't my age. I'm only 23. I'm not young. I'm sorry, I'm not old, but I'm also not incredibly young. She was definitely in her 40s or so anyway. Yeah, sick battalion. Fuck it. You know what? Let's just go. There's supposed to be a button prompt to show me how to change formation, because I've never done formations before, and it's not here. So I don't know how to change my formation. Fleet for the drone construction limit. Okay. Oh, okay. It's one of the arrow keys. It's up. Sick. Okay. So, yeah, detailing that is difficult, especially when their comprehension is clearly... I don't want to say lacking. I don't want to be unfair or mean, you know? But just like... substandard makes it difficult. And I thought I did a really good job. I did. And I'm really happy that a customer has that experience. And I know I just sound like I'm on my own dick. You know, I get that. But at the same time, there's a couple of people that I work with who I just know, you know, if they've been talking to them, I'm not going to break him here. I need to leave. Thank you, drones. I fully expected to die. My hull is almost gone, and my bastion is gone. Most of my constructs are dead. New draw formation and ability to toggle between them. Okay, thanks. Abandon your site to hunt down targets. That's a terrible idea. Give me regeneration, and then... Ooh. Ooh. That would make bastion. No, let's take defensive drone. Let's take defensive allies. Guardian. Repair my bastion. That's what I want. I'm just happy. I know it sounds self-serving, but I'm just happy she had somebody who was nice. Just like one or two other people that I work with who just, they wouldn't do that, you know? They wouldn't take the time, or they'd be blunter, and I don't know, it was just weird to think about that, where somebody could have a poor experience because someone was horrible. I know she said she'd be back to me tomorrow and like wanted to buy it, and I put it aside for her, and she requested that I put it aside for her, so obviously that's fine. Oh, this is target straight in front of me instead of auto targeting. Okay, that's great for offense, but also terrible because I'm really bad at aiming. I'm not 100% sure where I wanted to go with this tangent, with this point, but I went with it, and it's been done. Apex Machinery. So we unlocked this last run. This requires shielded constructs and a max upgraded construct line. That's what that max is. 25% construct hull strength, 25% faster construct rate of fire, 25% mine damage and mine effect, 50% shield effect power, and 100% longer construct assembly time. That's a problem that I'm hesitant about taking just yet. So, I don't know. But at the same time, I want to take it. Also, by the way, I'm done with the point I was making. It's becoming labored, and I'm just a bit... I want to focus on the run, you know? Just take the stress out of my mind about the weird day that it was. Because that was a fun interaction and interesting, and I liked it. I did. I like... just, I guess, challenging myself in a weird way. I don't know. But for now and for the rest of the run, I want to focus on it. So we've taken flak, and flak has been good so far. It's not been a problem, but honestly, that's probably because we took drones. So what do we augment from here? Hull strength for defense, probably. I'm thinking hull strength for heavy amounts of defense. And maybe then go down along the lines of Juggernaut to be bigger. Or alternatively, we could completely sack the weapon. You know, I don't dislike the idea. Ooh, okay, so theory. We need to focus on our ally. Oh, no, I didn't take interceptors. Oh, I absolutely suck. Okay, let's just go for a little bit more defense for now. So what I was thinking was, if we take Overseer, it says that you cannot utilize non-construct weaponry, but I don't know if that affects my constructs, right? Because if I give my allies my weapons, then that's not me. But then at the same time, they have my weapon. But they also can't utilize blade. So there has to have been a balancing aspect of that, where it's like, if you have a weapon, they can use that, but if you take blade, they can't use it. But then you can continue to use Apex Machinery, or not Apex Machinery, Overseer, but still have a weapon. So I'm sure that was like maybe the balancing feature. I've also taken Echo Strike from my Guardians. This gives them a blast radius, and I also have a blast radius. So I can actually they can deal a great deal of damage, or rather this individual one can deal a great deal of damage. And he's also going to be repairing me, or rather my drones when they take a great deal of damage, and my Bastion when it takes damage. So that not yet. As you can see, not yet. There's an upgrade that I'm going to be getting a little bit down the line that allows my Guardian to do that. It will take away from a bit of my offensive prowess, or rather its offensive prowess, but it's worth it. It honestly is, if I can get it. Service, there it is. So now, when it gets close to a damaged piece of a damaged construct, it's going to repair it, which is pretty big, because like when Bastion goes down, especially when you're running shielded constructs, I go down, and that's terrifying. I don't need that happening. Oh no, let's try not to get sucked in for the third time in a row against this enemy. I was hoping to succeed in this run where I've failed in the past two, and honestly I feel like I've been doing a bit better. Wonder if we can check what wave we're on. Record 61. Okay, cool. I was expecting a little bit higher, honestly, but that's fine. So you can see Guardian. I'm going to move out of the sun so you can actually see what Guardian is doing. That little lightning pulse that you'd see on the Guardian-based enemies previously, that you might have seen on the Guardian enemy previously, is... I'm dead. Oh, what he does to heal us. Tempest Break. Trigger Tempest Break when your shields break. Your shield only begins cooldown when it breaks. Supermods appear when they're unique requirements. Tempest Break is a massive damage explosion when our shield explodes. When our shield breaks. Obviously, it's extremely useful for a shield explosion based build. This has been a rambly episode. The last episode has been a rambly based episode. I'm sorry about that. But if you enjoy the content, then, I mean, I guess I don't need to apologize. I've also had a bit on my mind that I kind of wanted to get off, and it's cathartic, as I've said previously, to record a few episodes and just kind of get into it, you know? I'm in this for me and you. So I feel like I'm just a bit done with flak for now. And this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed my episode of Nova Drift and my content in general, then I highly recommend that you subscribe and comment. Do the huge for more, because I fully intend to keep making Nova Drift content and potentially other content if you're interested. Again, thank you so much for watching. I've been the Gaudy Jackal, and you've been phenomenal.